Hello everyone! Welcome to another episode of Bible Q&A. Today we're discussing, did Jesus commit treason as charged? In Luke chapter 23 verses 1 to 2, the Pharisees told Pilate that Jesus was attempting to commit treason against the Roman state by claiming he was a king. If thou let this man go, thou art not Caesar's friend. Whosoever maketh himself a king speaketh against Caesar. John chapter 19 verse 12. They insisted, we have no king but Caesar. John chapter 19 verse 15. Of course, their actual problem with him was that he claimed to be the Son of God, but Roman law didn't care about petty Jewish disputes, so they needed to think of something else. So, were they right in accusing him of treason? Well, of course not. Their proofs were actually very weak. For example, they claimed he opposed taxes to Caesar when he actually supported paying taxes in Mark chapter 12 verse 17. Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. He believed in respecting political authorities, according to Romans chapter 13 verses 1 to 7. Plus, he paid taxes himself in Matthew chapter 17 verses 24 to 27, albeit as a contribution to the temple. You know, the contribution that they depended on to survive. But let's go on to their main argument, that he claimed to be a king. Well, Jesus never actually said he was a king, at least politically. He said in John, "My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from hence." John chapter 18 verse 36. I mean, look at how Catholics view the Pope. You could say that the Pope is their spiritual king, but they don't claim that the leaders of the countries they live in are illegitimate. They just look to the Pope for spiritual advice, just as they allow politicians to decide what they should and shouldn't do to other citizens. Jesus would rule only in the hearts of Christians, according to Jeremiah chapter 31 verses 31 to 34. Plus, Jesus didn't even ask to take this spiritual role. God gave it to him. The psalmist said, "For thou preventest him with the blessings of goodness. Thou settest a crown of pure gold on his head." Psalms chapter 21 verse 3. Should someone blame you for taking the role of CEO when it was your uncle who appointed you? Finally, Jesus didn't actually know when this so-called coup would take place. "But of that day and that hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels which are in heaven, neither the Son, but the Father." Mark chapter 13 verse 32. He said he'd rule the world with his angels, according to Matthew chapter 25 verse 32, and that they would bring peace to mankind, according to Micah chapter 4 verse 4, but he never said when this would happen. It could, and actually did, happen long after the Pharisees and the Roman Empire itself would become history. What all this means is that Jesus wasn't even a threat to the Pharisees, let alone the Roman Empire's rule in Judea, like they claimed. He didn't go around bugging them or challenging their authority. He didn't rally Judeans to overthrow them in a revolution. I mean, he literally told his followers to listen to their laws. The scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. "All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do. But do not ye after their works, for they say and do not." Matthew chapter 23 verses 2 to 3. What kind of revolutionary figure would say that? What kind of revolutionary figure would hide in the mountains after his followers tried to make him king, according to John chapter 6 verse 15? Not a very good one, I'd say. Rather, it was the Pharisees who kept bothering Jesus. When his disciples were plucking corn on the Sabbath in Matthew chapter 12 verse 1, they got mad. When he healed on the Sabbath in Mark chapter 3 verses 1 to 6, they got mad. When he ate with tax collectors in Luke chapter 5 verses 29 to 30, they got mad. They just wouldn't leave him alone. The only time Jesus actually did something significant against them was in Mark chapter 11 verses 15 to 19, when he chased all the money changers out of the temple. But they weren't even angry at him for that. They were angry at him because everyone was spellbound by him. If nobody cared about what he did, they probably would have just banned Jesus from the temple. That's what they did to the blind man who tried to support him in John chapter 9 verses 30 to 34. Clearly then, this was all just a waste of time, wasn't it? The Pharisees kept attacking a poor beggar and his followers for saying things most people would just write off as crazy or irrelevant. Yes, he was gathering a following, but far more charismatic leaders had led revolts against the Romans and failed, so there wasn't very much a man like Jesus would be able to do. The elders would thus not be deposed by the Romans for allowing a revolt to happen, like they feared in John chapter 11 verse 48. Why then did they feel so threatened by him? Well, the answer is simple. Dictators and power-hungry people are very paranoid individuals. They see any little sign of rebellion as the beginning of the end of their reign. They control the press and the movement of their citizens to make sure no one even breathes against their officials. When Jesus was living in the mountains and healing random people, the Pharisees didn't see him as an ordinary miracle worker. Every time they looked at him, they saw a pest who could end their wicked reign. So if he wouldn't shut up, they'd have to make him shut up. The sad part is, there are guys like this in several world governments, persecuting powerless people just because they see them as a threat to their hegemony. They arrest citizens just for disagreeing with them, even if they don't have any plans of challenging their authority. However, what I take away from this story is that Jesus, or anyone else who is just living their life without hurting anyone, could and can never be treasonous. The only treasonous people in this world are people who make the lives of others miserable. Thank you for listening, and subscribe to Peace.